This is another Skizzo rambling, and I just wanted to say, fuck the cheese, and all the gorillas. Gorillas be gorilla-ing.
If this video goes up tonight, well, happy last day of June. I'm recording this on June 30th. And if it goes up tomorrow, well, then happy first day of July. You know, whatever comes first. I made one of these, like, Skizzo rambling videos back in February where I just, like, talked about life for 30 minutes. Mostly about, like, movies I had seen that I didn't get a chance to review and, like, you know, my thoughts on the Jurassic World Dominion trailer and stuff like that. And I've been wanting to make another one of these videos for a while now. Like, because I've been I haven't really been uploading as many videos as I did, like, last year or the year before on purpose, because I really wanted to just, like, finish the Harry Potter audiobooks. And Hulu came with my Spotify membership, and I also really wanted to finish a regular show, because I got back into that a few months ago. So yeah, this is your warning right now. This video will contain spoilers of both the Harry Potter books and movies, as well as, like, regular shows. So if you haven't watched regular show, haven't seen the Harry Potter movies, or, like, haven't read the books, and if you don't want to be spoiled, well, I would suggest clicking off this video right now. Oh man, it's been crazy, but it's been rewarding. Also, to any of, like, my old school subscribers that have been here since 2017, this Minecraft world that I record this gameplay in is the same Minecraft world that I recorded the Wheat music video in when I made a parody of Shots by LMFAO, like a Minecraft song parody of that song, but I called it Wheat's, like, wheat, 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 get some wheat now. Like, yeah, this is the same world. This Minecraft world right here is my pride and joy. Like, I've had it since my freshman year of college, and I started, like, Thanksgiving break, during, like, fall of 2017, and I, recorded that music video, and I built, like, a big-ass field of wheat, and I built out holly wheat in the side of the hill next to, like, my house, out of, like, hay bales. And not only that, but with a smaller YouTuber that I used to collaborate with, we killed the Ender Dragon and the Wither in this world. And this strip mine that you record this gameplay in, this strip mine is my pride and joy. Like, in all honesty, I haven't really, like, played creative mode in years. Like, creative mode to me has just gone kind of boring. Like, survival is, like, if I build stuff in survival or do, like, busy work in survival, it's just more rewarding, because, like, hey, I did this with limited resources and having to fight monsters and feed myself. Well, creative mode's just, like, Minecraft's been around for, like, what, 13 years now, 12 years, more or less, and, like, creative mode, everything's been done now. I used to want, like, really like building adventure maps and mini games, like, when I was in middle school and high school, but, like, none of my friends play Minecraft anymore, really, so, like, I don't really have anyone to show it to, so, like, and this past March of 2022 was my first time, like, opening up Minecraft since, like, right when quarantine started, way bach March of 2020. Here's my thing with games. Like, I never lost interest in Minecraft. I just, like, around that time, March of 2020, I just started prioritizing other games. Like, at the time for me, that was Modern Warfare. I did a whole, like, Road to Gold series of, the LMGs and the SMGs in that game, and the all camos for the guns. And then after, like, that, around, like, the next year, like, around Christmas, like, January of 2021, I got Black Ops Cold War, so I was prioritizing that. And then Far Cry 6 came around my birthday back in October. I got it as a birthday present. And I said my the Skizzo, like, I did a whole series finale for my Far Cry 6 Let's Play, and I said, like, I'd still play Far Cry 6. Yeah, I really haven't opened Far Cry 6 in, like, months. I don't know, it's just, like, I don't hate it, it's just disappointing. It's funny, because I've met a lot of people who don't like Far Cry 5 because it feels too similar to Far Cry 4. I personally can't really get into Far Cry 6 because I think it feels too different from the other Far Cries. But, that's rambling for another day, I suppose. But yeah, back to Minecraft, and, like, I also got a Nintendo Switch back in November, so I was playing the heck out of that. I took a Switch hiatus back in March and April, I just want to take a break from the Switch. I want to get back to playing Minecraft because I haven't like played it over 2 years, and like I just have unfinished business. And as for Harry Potter audiobooks, like my mom and I road tripped across the country last year. Like we were just moving all her stuff out of my dad's house. We like took her Subaru across the country, and she got us the Philosopher's Stone, like the first Harry Potter book on tape. We listened to that, and then when I got back to Colorado, I listened to Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban, the first half of Goblet of Fire, on Spotify, because all the audiobooks were on Spotify for a while. Not anymore. Sad face. So like, and I kind of just like stopped like with the Harry Potter books in the middle of the semester because I was really busy with school and stuff. And then when after I graduated, I was like, oh well, I love literature. It's like I got my degree in English. I was an English major at CSU. I love books. I love fiction, and I love literature. I love the feeling of the paper, the pages, and the binding in my hands as I read. I don't have to charge it. But at the same time, I have a very hard time reading. I never just have the energy to just sit down and read. Audiobooks, on the other hand, that's a different story, because audiobooks, I still get the story, assuming the narrator is good, which in my case, he certainly was. And, I can listen to that while doing other things, like playing Minecraft, for instance, like strip mining. I've said this on Twitter, I'll say it again here. Strip mining in Minecraft and listening to like these audiobooks has been like therapy. Unless you fall in the lava by mistake. That's happened to me twice in the past few months, that I feel really embarrassed about it. And so I've just been recording a lot of just like me strip mining in this strip mine right here. And I'm gonna use it as like stock gameplay for future videos. And yeah, as a kid, I committed the cardinal sin of watching all the movies before even bothering reading the books. My older sister, being the raging Potterhead that she was when we were kids, like she was really not happy at me for it, and like told me like, oh, I'm mad at you for not reading the books. Since usually I've always this is actually a bad habit I'm still trying to fix. I've always like had a tendency to watch the movies before reading the books. Are based off of like I started listening literally as soon as I finished Deathly Hallows. I jumped to the Jurassic Park audiobook right after that. So I finished Deathly Hallows, and on Hulu I finished Regular Show, because Regular Show was like I was like grew up on a very healthy diet of cartoons, and middle school, like 6th and 7th grade, like those 2010 roughly new decade Cartoon Network shows. It was like a Cartoon Network renaissance almost. Like you had Regular Show, Amazing World of Gumball, Adventure Time, Ninjago, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the Thundercats reboot, the Green Lantern animated TV series. I mean, I probably remember those shows better than other people do, but yeah, like I watched that shit religiously 6th and 7th grade. And then 8th grade, I got into The Walking Dead, and at the time for me, that was like the show to end all shows. And I was just like, I just stopped watching cartoons altogether. I didn't bother to keep up with like Regular Show or Adventure Time or Gumball, even though all the shows ended like a few years ago. And I just like fixated on The Walking Dead. And for anyone who ever watched my Walking Dead reaction live streams 2 years ago, I didn't stop watching The Walking Dead because I got bored of it. I stopped watching The Walking Dead because I don't have cable anymore. Like I moved out of the dorms that summer, and thus like I don't have like I don't have like cable I can watch AMC on. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix, so I'll probably get watching seasons 10, 11 at some point. But yeah, again, that's a rambling for another day. But like, yeah, when I got Spotify, it came with Hulu with the student discount, and I was looking through, I was like, wow, Hulu has Regular Show, Gumball, Adventure Time, like this is great. Like I like Regular Show especially, and I was like, because I didn't watch later seasons at that time, but I still like knew how the show ended. I saw like on a Watch Mojo video like Pops sacrificed himself, and I was like, oop, spoilers for Regular Show, so I gotta jump ahead. So that was all I knew going into like the later seasons of Regular Show. And yeah, it's like I just saw that on Hulu, and I was like, yeah, I just had unfinished business. So I like that's a kind of theme of this Skizzo rambling. It's just unfinished business, going back and setting things right. Oh yes, because we are heroes. It is I, the Derposaurus, and T-Bro, and Skite, and Mr. Unfuckable. I don't care that I just use a curse word, that shell's not even monetized in the first place. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Regular Show, Minecraft, Harry Potter, and Regular Show was like, I just love how it was. I've all like the Cartoon Network Renaissance shows. Like I'm just calling them the Renaissance because like a lot of really great shows came out back then. Regular shows my favorite. Like out of all the the ones that came out like around 2009 through 2011 ish. Regular Show is my favorite because it's one of those cartoons that gets a lot better when you rewatch it in your 20s because it's not just the innuendos. It's just like the whole show is just like a stoner comedy disguised. It's like a kid's cartoon, and I just love it for that. Like there's anyone knows that like the characters like Mordecai and Rigby, they're all like at least in their 20s. They're all in their all the characters in that show are at least in their 20s. Not like Gumball Adventure Time where all the main characters are preteens or teens. So it's like it was just a lot more relatable to me because like Mordecai, like I remember in the first episode when it's like, I think he wants to put the heart on him. I think he wants to put the heart on him. You think he wants to put the heart on him? I think he wants us to. Ah, ah, ah! And like they throw the doll on the trampoline and it bounces forwards and busts a hole in the wall. Mordecai's like, oh dude, we're 23 years old. It's like, I'm 23 right now. I'm not ready to be 24 this October. Because nobody likes you when you're 23. And now I'm still amused by TV shows. What the hell is ADD? I never want to act my age. What's my age again? What's my age again? Yeah, it's like, it's being 24 this fall is going to feel very strange. And I know it. And yeah, and I think my favorite episode in middle school from Regular Show was Exit 9B, their first like 30-minute special. Yeah, I just thought that episode was just so epic when like all the Regular Show characters, all the side characters, like both the evil ones and the good ones, just like have that epic like battle in the park with Garrett Bobby Ferguson. Like, oh yeah, that was an 8th grader. I thought that was kick-ass. And then, and like I gotta say, the series finale was really interesting. Like I said, most of the show up until like season 8 is just like it's typical anime comedy. Then like season 8 goes into full sci-fi mode. It was like Rick and Morty, but like a PG version of Rick and Morty, with the way they all just like go into space and there's aliens and there's spaceships and all that jazz. Yeah, there's just a lot of really great episodes. I figured out the 7 deadly sins of Regular Show characters. Mordecai is lust because they're always pulling the Mordecai first on Margaret, and Margaret dumps him so she can go to the school of her dreams. Then he gets back together with CJ, and then like he, because they met earlier in the show, and like CJ, like he dumps CJ right in the middle of like Muscle Man's wedding. And yeah, so Mordecai is just always pulling the Mordecais. That's the one place that Rigby undeniably is better than Mordecai at, and that's relationships. So like, because him and Eileen just have a much more like functional relationship than Mordecai does with any of the partners on his show, except for his wife that it gets at the end when it like fast forward to all of them growing up. And like Eileen was just like I always liked Eileen, but I grew to love her in season 8 especially. It's kind of a bummer that like Rigby and Eileen had their only on-screen kiss during the show's finale. I was like, oh man, like, because I know like 7th grade me would have squealed if I saw them kiss on screen like back then. That would have been amazing. I was like, and again, I missed out on the later seasons. That one episode when like Rigby gets super jacked, like, but he's too jacked to even like lift himself. And at the end when he like saves the day and he's like, I would hug you, Eileen, but like I think I'd crush you. And she takes off her glasses because I guess she knows that Rigby secret like he thinks it's hot when like Eileen wears glasses, and they hug and she's like, totally worth it. I like, again, as a 23-year-old, like the middle schooler stuck inside me just like leaped out. I was like, I have to sip. Skizzo rambling makes you thirsty, kids. But yeah, so like, but at the same time, Rigby is way lazier than Mordecai, and like most of the show's conflicts are centered on him just in his eternal laziness. So yeah, Mordecai is lust, Rigby is sloth, Muscle Man is a gluttony because I think he eats the most out of anyone on the show, like especially at Wing Kingdom and Cheezers, and Benson is wrath. Yeah, that's pretty. Anyone who's even watched even one episode of Regular Show won't like disagree on that. I think Skips, Skips is pride because he's really smart and he knows it, but at the same time, like that one episode when we're introduced to Tecmo, he's too prideful to admit that he doesn't know how to fix computers, so Tecmo has to come in and sort of save the day. And Skips is pride, Mordecai is lust, Rigby is sloth, Benson is greed, and Muscle Man is gluttony, and well, I guess process of elimination, High Five Ghost is envy, and then like Pops, I know that's like the big 7 characters of the regular show in my opinion. It's just, you know, Mordecai, Rigby, and like their boss Benson, their 4 coworkers. Pops is just such a saint. Like, that's kind of the whole point of his character. He's just the eternal supply of just goodness. So I'm not saying he's good. I'm saying his father, Mr. Maillard, is greed because he's always showing off his wealth and lives in a giant mansion and puts money before everything else. So yeah, that's the 7 deadly sins of regular show right there. I'm kind of like bending the rules a little bit, if there are any rules to begin with. But yeah, the finale was like, it's interesting because the whole show follows like an episode structure, but doesn't at the same time. Like the earlier seasons, you could have watched the episodes like any order you want and like not get confused or about missing any important plot points, but they still acknowledge like, hey, this event happened, like, you know, before this episode we're currently in. And they still acknowledge, like, you know, again, Exit 9B, when like they see Garrett Bobby Ferguson's son, they're like, hey, I'm taking revenge of my dad because he made his head explode, and like all the other villains prior to, like, you know, the season 4 premiere. I think season 4 is the best season of regular show. That's kind of a hot take of mine. If you disagree, that's totally okay. And yeah, and so there's a proper episode structure. But in season 8, like the first third of it is definitely episodic. Like you have to watch all those episodes, the first few episodes in that specific order, and not be confused. Then the middle of season 8 is kind of just like not episodic. Especially, I was laughing hysterically when Benson wants to leave the spaceship and he like goes. He thinks he's back on Earth and like life is just absolutely sucking for him. And he steps out, I was like, hey, you were in the simulator by accident. Hey, it's kind of a design flaw, don't you think? So he's like, okay, I'm totally on board with this. And yeah, then the last third one, like they finally find out who Anti-Pops is and Pops' destiny, and he has to train and all that stuff. That's also definitely episodic, and it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was intense. I totally, this is another moment where I was just like, yeah, like, fuck yeah. Was one of the last few episodes where like the whole montage with the whole like Kung Fu Master guy is like Earl, I think is what, if I remember correctly, that's what his name was yeah, he was there was like the montage of working some more characters started playing Dragon Force to him. So far away, we wait for the day, for the light source so wasted and gone. We feel the pain of a lifetime lost in 1,000 days. Through the fire and the flames we carry on. Oh my gosh, when they started playing, because regular shows always had like needle drops, you know, like already existing songs placed throughout the show. But when I heard that come on, I was like, this show knows my finals week anthem. Seriously, I like rocked out so hard to like Through the Fire and Flames during finals week while taking my finals exams while I was going to CSU. Oh man, thank you Dragon Force, thank you Avenged Sevenfold. That'll save my college career. But yeah, I just was having a blast that scene, and like the epic final battle, like the series finale, when like all hell's just breaking loose. I gotta say, I haven't been that like teary-eyed at a cartoon series finale since Avatar: Last Airbender, because this is the ending when Pops like he even like melts the heart of Anti-Pops again. He's just so good. He like flies into the sun so that the whole like 14 billion year cycle just doesn't have to end. Just can finally end where there's not just constant fighting, the universe being destroyed anymore. So he sacrifices himself and Anti-Pops into like that sun, into the star, I suppose. Then Heroes from David Bowie starts playing, and yeah, that's a great song to stargaze to. I haven't done so yet, but I probably will at some point. And you see everyone just grow up, and you see everyone like mourning and paying their respects to Pops. Like you see Rigby and Eileen's first on-screen kiss, and only on-screen kiss, and like Starla, Muscle Man reunites with Starla and meets his daughter finally, and Tecmo like skips again. So like, hey, I kind of wish Tecmo was in the epic final battle, because I have all like the kind of minor characters, like minor characters on that show. Tecmo's probably my favorite. And yeah, Benson gets back together to Pam dumps him. Again, like I said, regular shows is low-key a stoner comedy disguised as a kid's cartoon. Benson is totally an alcoholic. They're just using like his like, you know, enormous appetite for chicken wings as like a substitute for alcohol. Like I said, like, you know, after Pam dumps him, like he's like, these chicken wings are reminding me of Pam. It's like, yeah, they totally weren't just eating chicken wings. Like, oh, someone's glug glug glugging, so to speak, on Benson and Pam's first date. And like he gets back together with Pam, and they like adopt that pig together, and a bunch of cats. And you know, Mordecai goes to art school, and of course, typical like, you know, Mordecai playing Mordecai. You know, he finally like marries someone. One thing I that used to bother me about the show, but not anymore, was how like the show never acknowledges that Mordecai and Rigby are animals. Like no one ever says, like, Mordecai's a blue jay, or like Rigby is a raccoon, or like Skips is a yeti. Like that's just, they just kind of gloss over that. No, I always like had fan fictions of Mordecai and other cartoon characters save the world together. Mordecai learns how to fly and just like channels their like dragon mode or something. Oh man, those were some good old days. The good old days, yours, the good old days. And yeah, there's just a lot of moments in regular show, like there's that I just hold very dearly, and like, you know, whether it's the older episodes or the newer ones, like the one where Benson goes to China and Rigby follows him there. Yeah, Rigby has quite an interesting redemption arc, you know, throughout the whole series, because like he, you know, he's such a lazy slacker at first, but he finds the courage to go back to high school and bag his high school diploma, and like, you know, marries Eileen. And it's just again, the series finale was pretty, it brought tears to my eyes, because Mordecai's like, too bad Pops isn't here to see this, but if Pops wouldn't have this in the first place. And then Pops was like, the VHS tape out of the player, and he's just like, hey, jolly good show. Like, oh yeah. That's how you end a cartoon series right there, guys. And now it's making me want to watch like the whole Adventure Time series, or like the Amazing World of Gumball series. But yeah, back to Harry Potter, like, I just think it's nice. I always knew this from like when I was a kid. Like the books and movies follow the same like general narrative. It's just the movies cut a lot of things out, like from the books, you know, just for the sake of pacing. Like, that's definitely the case with the first 3 like movies flipped to the books. Like Goblet of Fire is when things notably started to deteriorate from the books. Like Chamber of Secrets, there's this one, like, you know, I like this scene where they go to, where Harry and Hermione and Ron go to like a nearly headless Nick's death day party. That was in between like the events of the Harry hearing the basilisk hiss until like Phil's cat gets petrified. And I'm really bummed out that they left out this from the first movie, but like Norbert is or the dragon that Hagrid hatches gets more of a story, like, because they know that you actually see them like send the dragon off to Romania to be safe with Ron's brother, and but the movie's just like, oh, he's gone. Well, I felt so bad for Hagrid. Hagrid's probably my favorite character in the entire series and the entire movie franchise, and in memes, because PS1 Hagrid is the sexiest motherfucker on the face of the planet. Yes, PS1 Hagrid memes. I love PS1 Hagrid memes. And yeah, also in Order of the Phoenix, it's Hagrid that explains to the kids about, you know, the whole Testrals, like, you know, no one can see unless you've seen someone else die thing. You know, while in movies it's Luna who explains that to Harry, because they both can see the Testrals, and like all the kids were just like watching in horror as these like invisible creatures were tearing up a cow carcass or something. Oh, I thought that was funny. I think Order of the Phoenix, out of the books at least, even though it's in the darker half of the Harry Potter series, was like probably the funniest. Like I listened while I was listening to it again. I was strip mining in Minecraft, and I hear like the whole like terrible Valentine's Day scene that Cho has with Harry. It was so hilariously awkward, and Cho walks out sobbing. I almost fell out of my chair laughing when I first heard that. I was like, oh my goodness. After all these years, I finally understand why Cho betrays Harry in the movie. And, you know, anyone who's like at least heard the movies probably knows this, like, you know, Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, like, the book needed to be split into, like, 2, you know, chapters, like, for the movie franchise. Like, even, like, when I listened to it on YouTube, but you guys should check this YouTube channel. It's called Harry Potter World. Yeah, he did the whole Harry Potter series, and, Percy Jackson and the Olympian's Lightning Thief, and he started the Narnia series too. So you guys should check out YouTube channel out. Seriously, that guy who narrated this whole series for me is badass. Yeah, and And also in the first movie, there's like when they go into the Forbidden Forest, like in the movie the centaur kind of just comes out of nowhere and like scares away Voldemort. While in the movie, they like Hagrid and Harry meet him at first, and he's like, "Oh, good evening. Like, where's asking for directions?" He's like, "The stars are bright tonight. The stars will guide the way." They finally get the answer out of him. Hagrid's just like, "Never expect a straight answer from a centaur." My mom and I were just laughing at that. That was great. And yeah, and also this is. I think one of the changes that really irks me from the books to the movies is like the lack of house elves in the later movies, because like it's Dobby that gives the Gilweed to Harry, not Neville in the books. And Creature gets more of a backstory. They totally left out Winky from the books too. There's like female house elf who like defends Barty Crouch Jr. during the Goblet of Fire. And like she cries along and kicks out, because in Deathly Hallows Part 2, like after Dobby dies, like in the books, like the house elves, like Creature leads the charge, because a lot of house elves are hired at Hogwarts for their like kitchen staff. They're kicking ass, like they're just like shanking Death Eaters in the legs. My leg! And Grob has more appearances in the book too, not just in Order of the Phoenix, but like he comes back in Deathly Hallows again. He's just whooping ass on Voldemort and his giants. Like that was just so cool. I think Deathly Hallows was my favorite out of the books. My favorite out of the movies is Chamber of Secrets. That was just my favorite when I was a kid, so I'm kind of just like sticking with that. And also, it's given Voldemort's parentage is a lot more detailed in the book. Like, his mother was a witch and she cast a love spell on Tom Riddle Sr. And she keeps giving him like love potions repeatedly and repeatedly, until she stops to see if he actually truly does love her, and he's just like, nah, bitch, and just like walks away, and which leads to like while like she was still pregnant with Voldemort, and like that's why Voldemort is like so like bigoted towards Muggleborns and half-bloods, well, because he is a half-blood himself, so he just really. That's one that he has like more understandable motives. While like in the movies, he's kind of just like pure evil. I haven't watched the movies in years, so maybe I'll change my mind on that. And yeah, stuff like that. And like, I think the relationship between Harry and Ginny was handled better in the books too, because Ginny just has more of a personality and just gets more lines throughout the books. And Voldemort's death in like Deathly Hallows, like in the book, like it was, I found it like anticlimactic, like just, that Harry kind of just like zaps him and that's it. But like it makes sense, because the way I interpreted that was like, oh, I think J.K. Rowling was making a point like how in death everyone is equal. Like when he dies, like he flops to the ground just like a normal person would, and he gets buried in the castle, and then like Harry, instead of snapping the Elder Wand in half and throwing it off a bridge, he like puts it back in like Dumbledore's grave, so like when he dies, nobody else can abuse its power again. And yeah, again, this is why it's called a rambling, because my thoughts are kind of all over the place in this. Man, I love this franchise, Harry Potter. It really helped me become who I am today when I was a kid, so I really feel like I was doing myself an injustice by like not listening to like not consuming the books too. And yeah, oh gosh, where was I going with all this? Man, I've had a pretty long day. Oh, St. Mungo's Hospital is also like really, at least very glossed over in the movies. Yeah, they see Gilderoy Lockhart there, like in Order of the Phoenix, and the narration is like, oh, because of what he did, like Chamber of Secrets, like the sympathy was little. Also in Chamber of Secrets, like when it's spelled out on the walls, like when Ginny is kidnapped by the basilisk, it says like, oh, her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. Well, that wasn't totally false, because apparently J.K. Rowling has confirmed the basilisk in Chamber of Secrets is female. So it's like, hey, when Harry kills the basilisk at the end and you see the basilisk skeleton in Deathly Hallows Part 2, it's like, oh, her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever. So like that happened, but not the skeleton we were thinking. Also, to any ornithology nerds who are listening to this, my Fox the Phoenix was based off of a harpy eagle. Oh man, I would not want to be a monkey of the Amazon if that thing was prowling after me. Yeah, I think harpy eagles are from South America. I forget it. Like birds. My past descendants, because they're dinosaurs, and I'm a dinosaur, and I'm a Derposaurus. Grr. Here's the thing: the common ancestor to the common ancestor to all like modern day birds, like Archaeopteryx, was like it split off the rest of the dinosaurs during the Jurassic period. So like a lot of Cretaceous dinosaurs, the ones that you guys are probably familiar with, like raptors, T-Rexes, Triceratops, Hadrosaurs, like they're all more like distant cousins to modern day chickens versus like ancestor and descendant, if that makes any sense. Yeah, a little paleontology lesson for you guys, I suppose. And yeah, it's just I really happy I read the books, even though there's some issue. Like I knew of like Dobby's lack of appearances throughout the later half of the series too, because like Dobby does play a bigger role in the books, and he was like one of the reasons why Chamber of Secrets is my favorite movies is because he just made it so much better. But yeah, I think that kind of concludes this Skizzo rambling. I feel like there's more I could say about Harry Potter and regular show or something else that I want to mention, but probably just forgot it. Maybe the Skizzo ramble get a part 2. Probably not. We'll see. Anyway, I just think it's going on for a little too long, and I should probably just get out of the house and take a nice evening walk because the weather is really nice tonight. I mean, it was raining earlier today here in Fort Collins, but yeah, it seems like it's cleared up now. And I kind of just want to make the most of my time here before I move out at the end of July. Oh man, the new chapter is starting up pretty soon for me. So again, if I like go long times without uploading new videos like soon, it probably is because I'm moving. I'm just stressed and busy and don't have the time to make videos. So my apologies in advance. All right, you non-existent viewers or listeners rule. Like honestly, you could just use this as a podcast if nobody cares about Minecraft. Like you just want to hear me just talk about life and stuff. Like that's fine by me if you want to just like minimize it and go about whatever it is you're doing with this as background noise. Why is my voice so low all of a sudden? Oh man. All right. Anyways, good night.